Hello, I'm Gary Quinn, and welcome to another episode of Ready, Set, Live. My special guest today is Belinda Carlisle, who is an international singer, songwriter. She's a New York Times best-selling author, painter, mom, and an incredible, beautiful light. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Belinda.
Good morning. What an intro. Thank you.
So I've been listening to your books on tape. What a story. I love the story where you were a little girl growing up in Thousand Oaks, and you had that box with the leaves and the twigs, and really you were setting an incantation, almost like an intent of what you were creating.
Oh, totally. You know, when I look back on my life, I'm a total mini manifester before I even knew what that was. And I mean, the Go-Go's was a group of 5 mini manifestors because we happened against all odds. So now looking back in retrospect, setting an intention, not believing anything, other than I can do it. We can do it. And there's a lot of power in that. And now that I've read, of course, Abraham Hicks and all those sort of books, I realized that, way back then I was manifesting and I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah. And the cool thing was that it was you beat all the odds, and there were many challenges and obstacles that you had, but you kept going. And I think that's the light or the trust, or that kind of inner, you just knew.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a knowing. I remember when the Go-Go's first started, we had no idea how to write songs. We didn't know how to play music. We had no idea how to plug a guitar or a bass into an amplifier. So, against all odds, we succeeded. But I remember I worked as a secretary at the Hilton Hotel Corporation
Yes.
in Century City. And I remember, and I was kind of like the freak in the office. I had to always wear a scarf over my head because my hair was either green or purple. And this is like back in like the late 70s, before really anybody really knew what punk rock was. So, but I remember like photocopying papers for my boss, thinking I'm going to be a rock star one of these days, and this is just temporary. And that was all of our attitudes. And I think having that attitude, and also we were having so much fun doing it and not really focused on the outcome at first, but just really, really enjoying every step of the way. And we just loved what we were doing. And there's, our musical proficiency wasn't as great as our charm on stage. So, we just kind of winged it as we went along, and we always had a real deep belief that we would be rock stars one day.
And look, it happened. I mean, that's the great thing about, really at the end of the day, our lessons as souls are really to learn how to just be. And sometimes when we're in the drama, we go, well, there's this stress. How could I be happy? I don't even know what happiness could be. But I think that the energy, or let's say someone who wants to be a rock star or wants to be anything, they can look at your life and say, wow, Belinda did it.
Wow.
And that's like such a wow moment, because, reading your life. And I love the story when you went to the Hilton Hotel, and you guys, I did something very similar with Sheena Easton. I was stalking her, and you guys were at the Hilton Hotel, and it was, who was it? It was the Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I went with my friend Lorna from art class. It's funny how these things work out. And Queen, we were like big Queen fanatics in high school. And he went to the Beverly Hilton because he heard Queen was staying there. So we're sitting in the lobby, dressed up in like beret, colored Shermans, all sort of our glitter kind of outfits, and that platforms, all that. And then we saw 2 other like teenage freaks across the lobby, and it's like, who are they? And we ended up meeting them, and it was Darby Crash, who was Paul at that time, and Pat Smear, who's in the Foo Fighters now. And it was just, we were all in high school and we just kind of found each other. And that actually was my first band. And that was the beginning of, you know, the start of like my life really changing. I was supposed to go, you know, to college and to school, and I just never really was feeling that. And then, you know, when I discovered music, it opened up a whole new world. And then, of course, the punk scene at the time when I met these two other kids was just starting, and you could be in a band and be terrible, and that was actually cooler. The worse you were, and the germs were really, really pretty bad. You know, and you know, from there, I was in a couple other bands before the Go-Go's, but yeah, you know, I mean.
Well, then you went solo, but when did you, I know there was a time when did you start doing Kundalini yoga and really starting to get healthy? Because there was a time where I love the interview you did with Martha Quinn, where you said, I was irresponsible, irrational, and crazy.
Well, no, I was. I mean, really crazy. I started doing Kundalini, actually. I mean, I was always kind of poo-poo to any kind of spirituality, actually. I mean, I was born and raised Southern Baptist, never resonated with me at all. You know, I was supposed to go to vacation Bible school, Bible camp, everything. And so I was kind of like, I was, all that kind of spiritual stuff turned me off. I met Gurmukh when I was pregnant. I was very, very ill. And she was from the Golden Temple, which was a vegetarian restaurant, I think in Fairfax and Beverly, right?
I used to go there, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I had food delivered from there. It was like a network of Sikhs that took care of like mothers that were sick. And I was really, really sick and I couldn't really get out of bed. So they would deliver food and they said, well, you should have Gurmukh come over. And so I started, that was my first introduction to Kundalini yoga. And I loved Gurmukh. I mean, I thought she was like the coolest with all her, you know, white and jewelry and stuff, the best jewelry. And but it always stuck with me. I didn't really like it that much, but it always stuck with me. And then like, oh gosh, it was maybe about 15 years ago. She had the Golden Bridge, the one that was on de Lompré.
Mm-hmm.
It was the big one.
Yes.
And then I thought, well, I should go take a class and see if I can hook up with her. And I ran into her and she said, come to India with me. I said, okay. And that was kind of the beginning of my experience with Kundalini yoga and really chanting. I mean, I always had a little bit of knowledge of it, but didn't really become a daily practitioner until really then, about 15 years I've been, you know, practicing daily. I'm always on a 40-day meditation. So she and India did change my life.
When you went to India, is that where you were inspired to do the APA?
Well, I've been to India like countless times. So it was on the trip after or before Gurmukh. Anyway, it was 15 years ago. I went with a couple girlfriends and we were in Udaipur, and I met these people from Seattle that have the first animal sanctuary and sort of animal hospital in India. And I became really good friends with them. And I thought, I want to do this one day to combine my love for animals, because I've always been an animal activist for, 30 odd years, and my love for India. And then I was always floating around the back of my mind. And then a friend of mine, I have lots of friends who work at NGOs in Calcutta, and they come over to Bangkok sometimes for the weekends because it's just a short flight. And one of them said to me, I want to do an animal services in Calcutta because there really isn't anything. And I chewed on that for about 6 months. I thought, I'm going to do that too. So I called him. And then basically, I'm making this really short. We co-founded Animal People Alliance in 2014. And since then, we've treated over about 20,000 animals now between Calcutta, which is our home base, and then Chiang Rai, Thailand. We've just expanded up into Chiang Rai. So it's always, it's another example of manifesting. I had no idea how I was going to do it, but I just I mean, I do it to this day. It was like, if there's something that I really want to achieve, I just, it's an intention, and I set my intention. And that was one of the intentions I set. And then voila, Animal People Alliance happened. And, we have an amazing team, a great,
Yes, we
great
have
team
some
of-
pictures. Can you show some of the pictures on screen? I have some great pictures of the animals, and also if you could double screen us on some of the shots too. But the pictures, there's you holding the little dog. And then there's some street scenes here. I don't know who they are. You probably know these people.
Oh, probably. I mean, I've been on a few vaccination drives.
Yeah, this
and
is she's
rabies drives.
feeding that. And then there's the gentleman, I think that's in Thailand.
Yeah,
And-
that's at the Chiang Rai shelter, where we do a lot of adoptions up there. So, and the monk adopted one of the dogs.
Wow. And there's the little dog there from the street that he's helping. But I think it's such a great organization because it's also you're teaching people that animals have feelings, but also that these women that you're helping are actually, you're giving them opportunities to learning how to give proper vet care, but also, I think it's a great space for women to be able to teach them. And I mean, how is that when you go there? It's probably very moving.
Well, I mean, our mission has always been not only to provide services for the street animals, but to also create employment for the vulnerable people, people who are at risk of falling below the poverty line. And that includes women who have the experience of being trafficked, and to be able to rehabilitate them, to be able to have a profession. And so we do have guys on the team too. And I can't tell you how it makes me feel when I go there and see what they're doing. And it's just like having a job. A lot of people don't have employment there. So it's a great feeling to be able to make a difference, not only in animals' lives, but also in people's lives. I can't tell you. It's very, very profound.
And it's a year-round that you have year-round. You're always doing different things on the website. I noticed you guys have challenges. You have all kinds of really great things that you're doing. And I really think it's a foundation, or it's a nonprofit that people really need to give from the heart. And I think with you behind this, that they know that the money's going to be well spent. So I think for all our listeners to really go on the website and look and see what Belinda's doing, because it's really about love. It's really about change, but it's also about making a difference in this world. Right. And I think, you're making a big difference in the world, Belinda, not only with your platform, but I think this is just a beautiful thing that you're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, the great thing about APA is that our overhead, because of where we are, isn't that high. So, this year's been challenging. So we've had to be really creative with our fundraising, and we'll make it because we have a big grant coming in June. But, so we'll get through this year. And, we do fundraising trips. We always have something going on. So, and I should add that, every dollar that's donated, or pound or whatever, goes directly to the services and to the team. It's not spent on somebody's lunch, secretary's lunch or anything. It goes straight to the ground. So, we're a mom and pop organization. We are a registered NGO, and we're also a U.S. registered charity. So anybody from America that wants to make a donation, of course, gets to take the tax deduction.
Good. So everybody make a donation to Animal People Alliance. And really, I've got a lot of people around the world that are fans of yours, that are clients of mine, that are listening or watching. And please go to the website, because I think Belinda's doing something that is just really important. And everybody has animals. I used to have a little dog, and animals are love. I mean, basically, when we talk about love, it's love. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, you know something, it's interesting because you know, in the consciousness is changing as far as animals go in India with an emerging middle class and all that. So, but still, I mean, there is a problem with animal abuse there, really bad abuse, by the way. In Thailand, that's not the case. Thailand's more dogs are food. So, you know, going in there and education is a big part of our mission too, is to educate people as animals have feelings, you know, it's important to treat them kindly. You know, they bring great joy. There's a lot of stigma attached to dogs, especially in India, because of religion. So anyway, I mean, we have our work cut out for us. That's always a challenge. But I'm proud to say that the team has really made a huge difference in the city.
Right. And do they do a lot of them speak English that you're working with, or is it people don't speak English?
No, they don't. And they actually, we have one girl on the team, Nafiza, who does speak English. The rest of the team doesn't really. Donnie speaks a little bit, but in Thailand they don't really speak English. You'd be surprised. And even in Bangkok, where I live, not a lot of people speak English. Nor should they really. But I mean, Paul, the co-founder, he's from Baltimore, and he speaks a little bit of Bengali. So we're all able to make it happen.
Do you speak?
I can swear.
Do you speak a little? Do you speak a little bit of Thai?
Yeah, I do actually. I've taken Thai lessons. I speak French. I lived in France for 24 years.
Bonjour, bonsoir. Je m'appelle Gary.
Mais j'oublié.
No, I lived in Paris for 1 year.
Yeah, no, I was there for like 24 years.
Wow.
25 years. But Thai is like way harder. Way harder.
I didn't understand. I remember one time when you called me, you were talking to the taxi driver, and I didn't understand a word of what you were saying.
It's really, it bears no resemblance to anything we know. French, Spanish, English.
Wow.
I mean, it's really, really, really hard.
Do you ever have this, it's not a deja vu, but this happens to me sometimes. I'll be in Tokyo and then I'll have this vision of Ventura Boulevard. Do you ever have that where you're in Thailand and all of a sudden you're somewhere in let's say France or Bangkok, or or not Bangkok, but say Los Angeles, that you remember things?
Yes, actually, the other day, the light here in Thailand this time of the year is a lot like California. And I was walking across the street about 4 o'clock, and it just, the light and the heat, it just reminded me of
LA.
In the middle of Bangkok, of Thousand Oaks, growing up in Thousand Oaks. Yeah. It didn't have the smell, but it had the heat and the light. Light. Yeah. I mean, this time of year is very California, actually. And I'm a California girl.
That's right. No. What was if you could say the greatest challenge, Belinda, that you had to overcome so far, what would that be?
I would say it was pretty difficult to get over pretty much a 30-year drug and alcohol problem that I was, struggled with for years. I mean, so that was, but when I was ready, I had to be ready. When I 47, when I just like, okay, that's it. I just did it. It wasn't hard once I decided to do it, that I couldn't do it anymore. So that was, I had decided that's enough. And I bought my favorite bottle of wine, drank the whole thing, passed out, woke up, went on a hike, and that was it. That was it. Once I decided to do it, it wasn't a struggle. But that was, 30 years of a lot of unnecessary, no, it wasn't unnecessary, because I don't regret it. But it was, especially towards the end of having to keep up with all the secrets and lies, and
Well, I think
difficult.
Over the years, Belinda, what I found with very special, highly sensitive, creative people, there's this energy, and I can relate to it, that there's this energy where you feel like you're not in this body, or that you feel like I don't belong here in this planet. Where am I? Who am I? And then when you reach some kind of fame, you don't really know, do they like you because of you, Belinda, or do they like you
Mhm.
because you're this other thing that they know? And I think that's very hard to decipher unless you have a core of that love and that confidence and that inner peace or knowing already, and that comes with time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's as a young woman growing up in public pretty much since I was 17, I always had a little bit of the imposter syndrome. And of course, always being very suspicious. And, I, I have always been pretty guarded, but to the point of not, I don't know, of being sort of detrimental. I think as you get older, as myself getting older and getting more comfortable in my skin, I think especially with sobriety and a lot of work, a lot of work on myself and introspection and therapy and yoga practice, especially Kundalini yoga practice and chanting. I think I'm in a much better place, but it took a long time to get there. I think everybody struggles with that. I don't think, I know my situation is extraordinary. I just happened to grow up in public.
Right. Do you
But
still
I have
have
a pretty good,
do you
I
do
have
you,
a good bullshit detector, to be honest. I
yeah,
do.
that's what we radar. Do you still have that Michael DeBarge book that he gave you?
Yes, I do actually.
Good.
I do. Yeah, I do. And yeah, he tried to get me sober. I'll never forget that day, but I just wasn't ready. I was in a terrible state, but I wasn't ready. I had to suffer to really go through crap for 30 years until I was finally ready. So I finally got there,
Well,
but it
you
took a
either,
while.
you as you're going through it, you either hit bottom and then there's nowhere else to go, or you die, you
Well,
know.
that's the thing is I think that it was my last day of using and drinking. I no not drinking. I stopped. My big thing was cocaine. So I had like an audible hallucination, which in retrospect, I don't know if it was such a hallucination because it was so real, but I mean, I had been on a 3-day bender too. So,
I don't think it
but
was a hallucination. I think it was a message from your guides,
yeah,
from the higher heavens, that said, okay, Belinda, we're looking. It's like it's a wonderful life. Wake up,
yeah.
you know.
Exactly. Exactly. It was very real to me. And it was a voice that said that I was going to die. And then I said, okay, I'll stop, but just let me finish what I have.
Right.
And then it was like, I'm done. But I knew for me, it was a choice between life and death. I mean, I hit a real, I remember, never forget, I was looking at myself in the mirror before that whole 3-day, 4-day bender that and looking at pictures of myself, there's like no soul. There was like black eyes. There
Mm-hmm.
was no light. I remember looking at myself and I didn't look like myself anymore. And then that whole bender happened. And then after that, I just knew for me, it was a choice between life and death. Absolutely.
And what's important, Belinda, is I think as we're all going through this, let's say, life lessons, everybody has their story, but I think we pick situations or relationships for growing, but you have to understand that we're always, let's say, upgrading or learning. I mean, all your relationships brought you to your consciousness to bring you to your husband, but you had to go through all those people, all those events in order to become, let's say, whole and
Absolutely.
really be you.
Absolutely. I don't think there are any coincidences. And I think we're all put into each other's spheres for reasons and for lessons. And it just took me a lot longer. That's all, it just took me a long time to figure it out. But, I was, even in the beginning when I knew I was in trouble, I mean, I always had that voice that's saying, this is not good, and I just, I would talk to myself, my higher self, I guess, or my witness, or whatever that is. I
Right.
always had that witness there, even when I was really young, and I had lots of experiences with that, but I was just unable to, I needed to go through what I needed to go through. And it was all, actually, it was all perfectly timed. And I would not take any of it back.
Yeah. Yeah. When you, what do you think the common reason is for people to be unhappy? Because there's a lot of people out there unhappy. And I think during this pandemic, people have had to look at themselves and their situations with their partners or wives or husbands, and they find out that's not me authentic anymore.
Yeah, I think,
Or vice versa, the other way around.
well, I think, the basis for unhappiness for myself anyway was always looking outside instead of looking in, and always projecting, and always feelings are not facts, and always projecting and always living in the future and always anticipating and stuff, and just really realizing, really, I mean, I just did this Sadhguru course, the inner engineering course, which sort of reinforced a lot of the teachings that I've sort of studied over the years, as to really, the joy is in the now. And I think with also the pandemic, I mean, I've had a lot of blessings from the pandemic. I mean, it's not very pleasant at
Mm.
all. I mean, I'm in, and I'm really, really lucky in my situation, but it's not easy emotionally sometimes, but I mean, it's absolutely, when this is over, I can look back on it, and it's taught me to slow down. It's taught me really the importance of family. It's made me think about a lot of things, and I've like to think I've used this time wisely, but I hope it's going to be over soon.
Yes, yes. And you started painting again.
Yes, I love my painting. I was pretty good in art when I was in school, and then I just didn't pick it up for, God, it's been 40 years since I've really painted. And so I took this time to go back to art classes and study, and I just love it. I know I'm going right after this, but I go a few times a week, and it's like meditation. I actually sold one about 6 months ago for APA, but I'm not selling anything. I'm working on one now. Well, actually, I finished it now. It's boxed and it's ready to go for to split the profits between a monkey sanctuary, and there's a monkey there that actually paints named Pockets Warhol, who is amazing. So we've collaborated. So, but eventually I'll sell one again for APA, but I just love doing it because it's like meditation. It's really staying in the moment.
What's your goal for, let's say, APA? What do you want? What does that look like? What would you like it to be?
Oh, I'd like to expand into more places in India. I think that there is a need for animal services there. So I would love to go into Rajasthan. I think that's a possibility. Eventually, it could happen. I'd like to grow the team and provide more employment for people, and that'll happen eventually. We just need to get through this year, and we will get through the year. I'm not worried at all about it. But and also in Thailand is to the people that we employ are from the hill tribes there, and hill tribes are generally stateless people, so they can't really travel. They don't have any identification. They can't get work. So I would like to work more with the hill tribes, really amazing people, and grow the team up there too in Chiang Rai. So yeah, that's kind of APA. Not grand. We don't have any grand, goals, but
Right.
just practical goals. And I'd like to just spread out a little bit more.
And you're going to go, I hope you're going to go on tour in the fall. Is that still set in the UK, or we don't know?
Oh, we have the Go-Go's tour in the summer in the States. The UK I have in the fall. I have a lot of festivals in Europe this summer too coming up. So I don't know. We're in a holding pattern. I mean, supposedly there's a lot of indications saying that live music will start this summer, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I don't
Yeah,
think, I don't know.
I mean,
I
I'm
don't know.
supposed to be all these countries, and I'm here. You know, there's no
Yeah.
travel. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but you do have the Go-Go's plan to come to the United States, right?
Well, we have that starting in June, but that was happening last year and it got delayed to this summer.
Oh.
So we'll see.
Are you coming to LA?
I think we're doing a couple nights at the Orpheum
Oh, okay. Well,
in downtown LA.
I'll come
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, you know, when people in life, I think, because you inspire so many people. I mean, I can't tell you all the people that knew that I was going to interview you, and they said they have followed you since you were a teenager, 18, 19, and that they are obsessed with you because they love you so much. I mean, that's what your fans are really. You've touched them all these years, and I think it's that's kind of cool, but that can also be kind of like not a drug of danger, but it's nice to have people who appreciate you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see any, you know, I mean, I don't see any negatives to it. I love that music has meant the music that I've made with the Go-Go's and on my own has meant something to people. And I mean, I have music myself that, for instance, the Bee Gees, you know, for me, it like transcends music and it becomes a moment, different moments in my life that I can remember that are very dear to me. So to be able to provide that for people and to have people say that about your own music is really an amazing thing.
You know,
Great.
I almost met you. I did a touring company of Greece, and you did the Long Beach with Donna Pescow, who I was working with. And
Right.
how was that doing Sandy?
Well, I wasn't in the best state of mind. I got through it.
It was
Um,
summer loving.
yeah, yeah, a lot. So I managed.
You
But
got through it.
I did do, and I was in a much better state of mind. I did at West End. I did Hairspray. I played Velma Von Tussle for like 4 months in the West End, and I have to say that doing stage is really fun, but it's the hardest work I've ever done in my entire life. I don't think I'll ever do it again.
Would you like to do more acting?
No,
No.
I have zero desire to do that.
What would you say your dream is still to do, or let's say you'd like to work with someone? Who would that person be?
I don't have any dreams as far as work goes. I mean, I think I've I've done. I mean, if I could work goes, if I could sing with anybody, I would say I'd love to sing with either Neil Finn or Barry Gibb. But my dreams and my goals and things that I really, really want to do have nothing to do with my work. They have to do. I'm a complete travel junkie, and I've been, you know, everywhere. I was in Central Asia quite a bit, to Turkmenistan and the Silk Road last summer. I'm planning for Pakistan. That'll be, I'd say, in the next spring, not this spring. But I mean, I have all of South America to do. I have Bolivia's at the top of my list. So my dreams have to do with travel. I'm like a complete. When I'm not traveling, I'm an armchair traveler. So that's all my dreams. And I have dreams for APA too. But as far as my professional thing, I just kind of wing it as I go along. I just do what's fun. I'm working on another album. You know, I don't know when I'll finish it with this thing, but I just, I just work in whatever. I'm at the time in my life now, and I'm really, really blessed that I have an amazing catalog I can work from, and I just work as little or as much as I want to work and do what's fun. And that's the main thing for me, is to have a great time.
And it's no accident that you had that song called Heaven is a Place on Earth. I believe that's where you are now.
Yes. I mean, I think heaven is a state of mind. It's not a place.
Well, sure, absolutely. But
Yeah.
so if I said to you, how does when Belinda finishes this experience in life, how do you want people to remember you by?
Um,
That she was.
well, um, I'd like to think that I have integrity, and that's really, really important to me. So I just sing an American singer with integrity that helped the animals.
Okay.
I think that that's pretty good.
Excellent. Well, you are truly blessed and loved by the world. And I just want you to
Awesome.
know that you don't have to do anything else but just be beautiful, which is be you to the fullest. And that's really your song. And I want to thank you for this time together. I know you're busy and people are always asking you for interviews, but I'm thankful to meet you, and I know it's almost like I feel like I know you, um, and I wish you great success. And
Thank you.
if anybody wants to donate to Animal People Alliance, they can go to the website. I'll be posting it on all the social media, and you can give from the heart and know the person behind this is amazing, and you can absolutely see the results. Until next time, this is Gary Quinn. Thank you, Belinda, for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.